Statistically speaking, everyone on Earth has seen at least one of the Fast and the Furious movies. I'm not sure how you'd fact-check that stat, so let's just assume that it's true. It's one of the most popular and successful movie franchises of all time. Some may not consider it a classic franchise simply because it's so absurd, but it's right up there with Star Wars, James Bond, and the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe. There's something unique about this franchise, though. I understand that fictional movies often stretch the barriers of possibility and are known to be a little unrealistic at times, but this is a unique case. At least in the MCU, we expect it to be a tad on the fantastic side. We are aware that there's wizards and aliens and superheroes with superpowers, so our expectations on that reality are established. The same can be said for Star Wars, where a futuristic space war isn't exactly something the audience can properly relate to. With these very fast and very furious movies, however, we're supposed to believe that it all takes place in the regular world where we live in, when it absolutely doesn't. The Fast and the Furious doesn't take place in our version of Earth. It's something entirely different. Much like the MCU, the Fast and the Furious movies exist within their own universe, where the rules are slightly different and things don't exactly work the same. Let's examine the FFU, that's the Fast and the Furious universe, and examine just how it varies. For starters, the rules of physics just don't apply here. If you tried making sense of the action that we see on screen, the logistics of the stunts that they pull off are just way off. Some of those things are just 100% impossible to do in real life. Not even a stunt driver in a controlled environment could do some of the things that these guys do in the movies. It just wouldn't be possible without computer animation. For example, in 2017's The Fate of the Furious, the entire squad partakes in a high-speed chase against a nuclear submarine. Yeah, like driving fancy cars on ice while a massive submarine hunts you down and cracks open all the entire solid surface that you're driving on. You know, that kind of low-budget stuff. The logistics of this rundown are completely and utterly insane. There's no way that any of this could actually happen. The same could be said for the runway scene in Fast and Furious 6, where the gang is yet again involved in another high-speed chase, this time involving an airplane ready for takeoff. As the plane barrels down the runway, jeeps and sports cars filled with good guys and bad guys zoom all around it. Only, the chase lasts for 5 minutes. That's 5 minutes of straight driving in the same direction at full speed. We never get a proper bird's eye view of this runway, but my goodness, it must have been a long one. Let's say they were driving at a modest 100 miles per hour for 5 straight minutes. That means they covered over 8 miles of ground. I've had the privilege of visiting quite a few different airports in my day, and never have I seen one with an 8-mile long runway. Maybe they have longer ones in Europe, I don't know. Or maybe they were just driving really slow? My personal favorite FFU moment comes from Fast and Furious 7, where Vin Diesel's character Dom Toretto not only whips his fancy red sports car around a high-rise luxury penthouse in Abu Dhabi, but then proceeds to jump his fancy red sports car from one high-rise through the sky into another high-rise. Oh, did I say he jumped from one high-rise to another? I'm sorry, I forgot to mention the third high-rise that he then drives into. Yep, the man drove a sports car through 3 buildings and lived to talk about it. The car didn't, but he did.
Time to unleash the beast.
If this were real life, that car would have just plummeted as soon as it exited the first building. There's this thing called gravity, I'm not sure if you've ever heard of it, but it totally exists. However, if it existed in the FFU, then this wouldn't have been possible. Good thing these movies exist within their own universe, otherwise that stunt could have been dangerous. Which brings me to my biggest example, Mr. Dom Toretto. He's the epitome of exactly what I'm talking about. We're led to believe he's a normal person, but he's absolutely not. There's something very strange and very different about Dom Toretto. The fact that he's still alive in the franchise is absurd. Seriously, there's been at least 20 occasions that should have been certain death. The laundry list of astronomical stunts that he's pulled off should have spelled his demise a long time ago. However, he's always managed to come through unscathed. Is he even human? I mean, there's no way that a mere mortal would be able to do some of the things that he hasn't even broken a sweat over. It makes zero sense that he's survived any of this. Something fishy must be going on. Either he's superhuman, or maybe the whole cinematic universe takes place in the real Dom's imagination. I'm not sure. It's not impossible that he is a superhuman. He could have some sort of alien backstory. It would explain why he seemingly hasn't aged in 18 years of making movies. Or perhaps he's actually a Terminator, and The Fast and the Furious takes place in the same universe as the Arnold action classic. Another theory is that Dom has multiple clones, and that we haven't been seeing the same one individual this entire time. Perhaps he does mess up and does miss his mark from time to time, but that never eliminates the character because there's just a limitless supply of Doms. My personal belief is that the Fast and the Furious franchise takes place in a universe where the rules of physics, and logic for that matter, can be stretched. Imagine it like Space Jam, where at the end of the climactic game, Michael Jordan learns of his cartoon powers and sinks the game-winning basket by dunking the ball from half court. In that movie, real-life humans exist in a cartoon world, so the cartoon laws of existence apply to them while they're there. There's another theory that suggests that Dom Toretto is actually Groot from Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yo soy Groot.
Groot can respawn by regrowing parts of his body like a tree. If Dom had the same ability to respawn whenever he messed up, it would explain how he's able to pull off these things after all. Plus, I mean, it's all Vin Diesel. Everything is Vin Diesel. Vin Diesel is life. Vin Diesel is love. Vin Diesel isn't the only one. The entire cast of the whole franchise includes such a perfect mix of big-name stars that fit the brand effortlessly. Of course, the most glaring omission from the current cast is Paul Walker, who tragically passed away in 2013. Michelle Rodriguez and Ludacris have been there since the beginning, while staples like Tyrese Gibson and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson have been added to the equation along the way. Honestly, I can't think of a single scenario where adding The Rock doesn't immediately make things better. They've even already announced their newest addition to the roster for the upcoming Fast and Furious 9, none other than pro wrestling legend John Cena. John Cena could not be a more perfect addition to a cast that's already a walking Axe body spray billboard. And that's sort of the point of these movies. They've almost become a parody of themselves. It was silly when it came out in 2001, and it's only gotten sillier since then. These F&F movies aren't meant to be actually good. They're meant to be entertaining. They're meant to be exciting and have a few jaw-dropping moments, but nobody on the planet is expecting them to pick up any Oscars anytime soon. It's comparable to the Transformers movies, which are typically 5% story and 95% explosives. They follow a very similar formula, yet those movies aren't nearly as popular as the Furious ones. There's something about sports cars turning into robots that causes fans to draw the line, I guess. Sometimes it's enjoyable to watch bad things, though. If the bad is done properly, it can be great. These Fast and Furious movies keep getting more and more unbelievable. At the start of the franchise, the craziest thing they do is, like, drive underneath an 18-wheeler. That was the big jaw-dropping stunt. Now they're jumping speedboats over nuclear explosions and hijacking spaceships. Anything whatsoever can happen, which is the beauty of the franchise. You don't watch a Fast and the Furious movie for it to make sense, or even for the story. You watch because the expensive cars go vroom, and maybe somebody does a flip. That's why the Fast and the Furious cinematic universe is perhaps the most entertaining one of all. Compared to all of the interesting blockbuster classics that exist, this franchise has its finger directly on the pulse of what people truly want, and they feed it to us in abundance. What do you think? How do you feel about the Fast and the Furious movies? Hate them? Love them? Let us know in the comments section down below. You never know, we may end up using your comment in a future video, so be on the lookout. Before you go, make sure to hit that thumbs up button to let us know that you enjoyed this video, and subscribe to Behind the Screen to stay up to date on all of our latest releases. Until next time, bye!